chance. All of Ben Cherington's figurative lawyers will tell you, give him a chance. The deadline's not until later today. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Major League Baseball's trade deadline is, of course, today. It's at 6 p.m., actually, a little off from where it's generally been in the past. Not to mention that it had been on the 31st of July as opposed to the 30th. It does appear that one thing will remain the same, and that's that Cherington won't be inclined to make any kind of move that involves sacrificing a single slice of the future and prioritizing the present that's right in front of his nose. Now, you'll notice in there that I say he won't be inclined. I didn't say he won't do it, but he won't want to do it. I have no doubt about that. Based on everything I've seen, heard, and learned, this is just who he is. He's all about the process. He's all about the endless cycle of that process, not deviating from that process, as he reiterated yet again Sunday on his weekly radio show, and that's going to be atop his list from now until forever. I am fully convinced. Now, why do I also think that he still might do something? Well, because I know for a fact that he's been told to do something by both Bob Nutting and Travis Williams, who want to see this team improved for this summer toward this set of playoffs, no matter how much Cherington and his analysts, his advanced analytical group, happen to believe it's not worth it. And you want to know what I think might happen out of this? In fact, I'm fairly convinced that it will. Something's going to take place. Cherington's going to make some kind of move because of that pressure that's over his head. And when he does, it's going to be something that's in all likelihood money-based, where he will take on a salary from somebody else, not have to give up anything in the process because he's had the money authorized already. But from there, he's going to be hailed. He's going to be hailed by more than half the fan base. I can promise you this right now. In fact, half of you who are listening to this show, who are right now saying, not me, should have done it before, are going to be, by the end of the day, yeah, man, see, Cherington did it after all. It was worth the wait. It was done at exactly the right time. The one possible scenario in which it could have taken place, he seized it. Way to go, Ben. When in fact, what will have occurred in that scenario, should it unfold that way, is that Cherington will have waited 106 games to lift the first pinky finger toward helping this team on the field. Toward helping this team that, again, last night in Houston, fought and ended up prevailing over the Astros 5-3. Another really impressive victory over another quality opponent with another late rally. They're showing you again and again and again the metal that they're made of, right down there where it actually counts at field level. Yeah, they've got reason to doubt them. You know, they don't hit consistently, to say the least. They're still missing a couple of arms. They're now losing position players to routine soft tissue injuries, by the way, which is never a good look. But last night, 2 more. Josh Palacios to a hammy. We'll see how serious that is. Ji-Hwan Bae, this wasn't his fault by any stretch, trying to leap over the first baseman and in the process coming down hard on a knee. We'll see how serious that is. Derek Shelton had no immediate word on that last night in Houston. But it's not just that this team is worth adding to. I don't know where this began in the baseball lexicon that general managers became comfortable speaking this nonsense to fans, not just in Pittsburgh, but around baseball, that somehow sold people on this absurd concept that the only trades that you make that matter or that count toward your ledger are those that are made right at the deadline. You even see these listings, historical deadline deals, as if they're the only types of exchanges that occur in baseball. It's nuts. They happen all year long. They're more frequent now, but they happen. In fact, as this week has gone on, more and more of these false narratives, a lot of them put forth by Cherington himself, have been blown to bits. Prices are going to be sky high. No one's selling. Everyone thinks they're in it. Yeah, again, some of those become truer as you get closer, but to paint that as a nothing should happen, and it's okay if nothing happens until the final couple of days of July is no. This man who is entrusted with the baseball well-being of this franchise, whose only responsibility at the end of the day, if you go way to the top of his pyramid, is to win games, is instead concerned with winning trades or winning the perception of trades, because that's what he's shown himself to be all about. Meaning proving that his process works, meaning proving that all of his acquisitions are smart, no matter how long he has to wait for them to show something. Proving that all of his coaching hires, including his hitting coach, Andy Haynes, are just perfect. And if they only stick around, if I stand by them long enough, they'll occasionally at least flash something so that I look like I made the right moves. That's the winning that he's about. The guys on the field last night in Houston had a different kind in mind. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern. That's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Damon, who says, DK, so does Ben Cherington have Bob Nutting's permission to spend on whatever he wants? Give out a huge contract, go pay for a big bat? Damon, the answer to this question is best put into two parts. As you heard me mention yet again in the opening segment, Nutting has authorized spending toward improving the team, meaning spending in a trade. What I have reported, and what I will repeat here, is that the spending that was authorized was significant, and that it doesn't even necessarily come with a dollar figure attached, which leads me to the second part, and this is where the Pirates are no different than any other franchise in professional sports. When there is a major move to be made, the owner is always involved, even in salary cap leagues, where payroll is set by the leagues as opposed to the individual team owners. So, for example, the Steelers want to make a major move. Trades aren't as common in football, but I'll go back to a really big one. In fact, this was mid-season when the Steelers sent a first-round pick to the Dolphins for Minkah Fitzpatrick, obviously an exchange that worked out really, really well for Pittsburgh. You can say to yourself, all right, well, Kevin Colbert was the GM, Mike Tomlin was the head coach. In football, they tend to work closer together at those two positions than in other sports, and they're the ones that could have and should have made the deal. But it's not how it works. You always, always, always get the franchise owner involved. And Art Rooney, in this case, is directly involved and has to sign off. He has to give his blessing. He can trust his guys. He can feed off of that trust to give his blessing, but he still has to give his blessing. The same applies to the Penguins and their current management, Fenway Sports Group, their previous management, a guy named Mario Lemieux. All of them were involved in all such moves. All of them had to sign off on all such moves. The difference is, in Pittsburgh, Nutting's been turned into a cartoon villain. So every single time, you don't even have to talk about a specific thing that he did or didn't do. You just say his name. And by the way, never ever say his first name, only his last name. And it sparks derision or laughter or whatever. And in this case, what Nutting would be doing is, hey, Ben, let's talk about it. Whatever you got, let's talk about it. So I'm going back to the hypothetical. Cherington goes to Nutting, let's say it around, noon today, and says, I've got this, and this option over here. This is what we're looking at. Analytics people like this one. This exchange over here, if we do this, it's just for money, it's whatever. No matter what the scenario is, the owner has to sign off. Not just the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. All owners do this. 100% of them do this. So even though Nutting has told Cherington, sure, yeah, go get this done. I'm behind you. We'll authorize the spending. We're good. Go make your best move. It's still going to get discussed, so it might be about more money than they had talked about previously. They might not even have, as I mentioned before, put something down on paper. Here it is, Ben. This is what you can spend. Don't go over this. It's just not how it works. It's not how it works. I know that's how it works in radio talk show land and message boards and whatever else. It's not how it works in the real world. Nutting is not a good owner. Nutting is not the best owner for the Pirates to have. The team would be healthier if it had a different owner. I can say all three of those things and be completely comfortable telling you after that about 99% of the stuff that people say about him are just flagrantly false. Now, I don't even mean the accusations. I just mean the stuff that's just generally spoken about, like this. His payrolls are too small, he delegates too much, and he takes too long to make change when it's needed. Those are major failings of a professional sports team's owner. But a lot of the rest of this stuff is wild. I mean, he's not behaving any differently than any other owner does in about 99% of the scenarios that people bring up. I appreciate the question. I really do. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates, and we should have quite the episode tomorrow, huh?